I am dreaming once again when you come in. What's a beautiful place? You the farmer in my mind. You were my fear. So far behind. So far behind.
All right, hello. We are back here once again for our last matchup here tonight. We have Mountaineers going against Wichita State. So this is going to be a humongous game. This is going to be the battle for first place here in NACE before everyone gets their seedings and everything. So this is going to be the top dog. Going into this, what are your thoughts?
Well, so far, the Wichita State's the only undefeated team so far in league play, and unfortunately, the Shockers may be undefeated, but even a storm runs into a mountain. So I have the WVU Lotus pull off the upset with a 2-1 win. Either way, though, this should be a very close and very tightly played game where I don't expect really any team to blow each other out of the water.
I agree with that. I also agree with the 2-1 to win. I think that's going to be, I don't think we're going to see a 2-0 on either side of the spectrum here. Both these teams are of the highest caliber here in NACE. This matchup also did happen in the playoffs where Wichita State did come out on top to beat the Mountaineers. So this is going to be a bit of a revenge game for this WU roster. So going into this, maybe with a head of steam, hopefully they're able to just capitalize and take this home because this is going to be a huge game.
And not only that, though, is I feel like for the Mountaineers, though, they're currently playing their best at the moment. We saw what they did against Happy Chap, where they just played an amazing defensive game. We know how good they are on offense. They're like a buzzsaw. They will just buzz through your defense with their nonstop aggressive offense. But right now, their defense is playing amazing and out of their mind, and they're currently in top form. So right now, you have to give me the Mountaineers just with how well they played last game, and I feel like they're hitting their peaks right at the right time this late in the season.
I do agree. And Wichita State right now, like you said, also currently undefeated. They are coming off of I believe, a forfeit match against Ball State Black. And outside of that, they've been 2-1-ing, 2-0-ing team after team. They 2-0'd St. Clair, which is really impressive because St. Clair is currently a 6-1 team tied for second with the Mountaineers. So that's something to kind of look out for. If they're able to 2-0 a team as high quality as St. Clair's, going into this, that might make you a little bit more scared. And they also won 2-1 against George Mason Academy, I believe. This was 2 weeks ago or a week ago. So far, they have been playing very good competition, and they've been beating all this competition. Like, they are actively head and shoulders above the rest of everybody else. But the question is, can the Mountaineers climb the mountain and take the spot?
I don't see why not they can't climb the mountain. I think they're going to even be yelling. You can hear their echoes of victory all across Appalachia. But for Wichita State, though, not only are they undefeated, they have experience in the mental game going full 3 rounds of Rocket League. And even when an undefeated team with that, I rather have a team that's 7-0 and has played a few close games than a team that's 7-0 and blown every team out of the water. Because when you eventually run into a close game, which no one's going to dominate every game of the season, that's just not possible. You're going to have a few close games. I'd rather have that experience now than go into a championship game or even the playoffs knowing you don't have that experience. And when you run into that, that's the type of stuff that just causes you to defeat. So for the Mountaineers, they're going to have to play a very technical and a very mental game because this is a very good Shockers team that plays both well technically and mentally. So this game's going to be very close. And for the Mountaineers, I know Duffy is the young guy in the season. He's the young stud. But I expect Hira and Emma to do the heavy lifting if they want to come up with this because they have the most experience. And when you're playing games like this, you have to rely on your vets to win.
You do. And, I mean, so far we've seen Emma. I mean, she's been dominating these past 2 weeks, especially against Western Michigan, and then that last game as well, having 2 goals there in game 2 along with Hira. They both have been, like you said, just doing what they are supposed to be doing day in and day out. And then Duffy as well. I mean, just playing his role to perfection. I believe he had 4 or 5 demolitions in that game 1 on the last series. Just really the ability to set up his teammates to do what they do best, which is just simply score. This trio right now is just working so well together. All the gears are turning. Everything that should be happening is happening. And the only way I see them losing this game is if they kind of lose themselves offensively and they're back to playing their defense, which did look pretty good in that last series, but that last series was not against Wichita State. So I'm really interested to see how well they're able to kind of keep their footing and just do what they do.
Yeah, I agree, Fate, because we know how good their offensive is, but their only loss to that FIU team is because they lost their identity. When their offensive wasn't working, they had to play a defensive game that they're just not comfortable with. And like the saying goes, unstoppable force means impossible object. And just so far, the Mountaineers are an unstoppable force, but when they're going against that immovable object, they've shown they've had struggles with. And with them, if you're going to want to win this game, you're going to have to play well defensively, and I don't see why they won't.
Yeah.
But I do have a little bit concerns because even though they're not a bad defensive team, that's definitely one of their weakest parts of their game.
It is, and like I said, they're not bad on the the defensive spectrum at all. It's just the fact that when they are forced to rely on that against really high level teams, a lot of times it does fall apart. And that's even something that we see sometimes with the main roster. That Baylor matchup we saw was definitely a case of Baylor having immaculate defense and forcing the main roster to kind of play a bit more passively, and that did not end up very well. I mean, that was quite the matchup there. So, or at least that last time, the last Baylor match went very well, but it's a common theme in Rocket League. Whoever's able to set the pace the best usually comes out on top, and hopefully we're going to see that here as we jump into this match. Here we go. Emma already getting possibly an open goal to start this game off, and she will. 6 seconds in, the Mountaineers are already up. That is a beautiful way to start this matchup. Just winning the 50-50 there against, I would think that's Tasheg, and that is just going to be an opening goal and a great start.
Emma's been just playing out of her mind the last 2 weeks. Like, she's been one of the biggest pieces, and when they beat Western Michigan, she was huge when they beat Happy Cap, and right now with the early goal against a very good Shockers team. The Shockers need to wake up, or else they might have a tough day ahead of them against a very good Lotus team.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't really struggled too much. They've had a couple of game threes, but they've always come out on top. And this is just not a deficit you want to start in, especially against the buzzsaw that is this Mountaineer offense. And so far, they are proving that they are very capable of playing against the highest competition and keeping their identity, as Duffy's going to score one from the sky. Way high up above. Emma setting him up on this left side, just popping it up in the air. Bit of an alley-oop in a sense. Kappa was there, but just could not get the drop on it, and that is going to be a 2-0 lead super early on.
Yeah, super big hole by the Shockers, and both goals heard all across Appalachia, West Virginia, with the Mountaineers just dominating the very start of this game. And if the Shockers, it's just shocking just how ineffective they played to start this game, knowing their undefeated streak is on the line.
Yeah, and I'm not for sure if the Shockers team is more offensive or defensive sided. Whatever that may be, it's been working out all season long. But so far, I mean, they have had some massive holes in their defense. The rotations have just ended up. Admittedly, that first goal is a bit of a fluke. It's kind of like losing a 50-50 and the ball just somehow finds its way to the back of the net. That last goal there, I mean, you had the defender there in positioning. You just didn't really make the play. And that's just something you cannot rely on against this Mountaineer team, as they're going to be able to set up a lot of shots, and you're going to have to defend to your best abilities, trying to not go down in these 2-0 deficits. And another one trickling by the goal. Duffy's going to make a second. 3-0 now. Mountaineers taking this one super easily so far.
Yeah, the Mountaineers are just like, it's just they woke up after going against a very good defensive team against Happy Cap early. They woke up and they're just like, know what, we played a good defensive game. Now let's go back to our bread and butter, and that's just dominated on the offense. And they don't care who you're playing. You can be the best team, you can be the worst team. They're going to do what makes them good, and that's just put a lot of pressure on other teams' defense.
Yeah, good touch there by Kappa. Duffy, let's get the demolition on this left side. Trying to set up a little bit of something. Kappa's going to get demolition again there. There's 2 demos now for West Virginia. Nothing seemed to have opened up because of it, though. Off the top's going to get centered. Kappa takes possession. Duffy's going to meet him there, though. And now this West Virginia team finally forced to try to play back and forth a little bit more. They've been able to really set the pace this entire game. But WSU is not a team to really go down on, and Solis answers back. 2 shots for him. His first goal here in the series.
Yeah, quick goal by Wichita, but they're still in a very early deficit with 3 minutes left to play. If you're Wichita, what do they need to do to kind of stop this just from Mountaineers from strong arming on the rest of the game.
They cannot allow the Mountaineers to set their pace. You know, you have to push them in an uncomfortable scenario where you're able to set up a lot of these shots. Oh my goodness, almost an amazing setup there. Kira off the top, and that's just unfortunate timing there. Tasheg though, trying to make something work on the other end, right past Emma. And they have to do just that. Like I said, forcing these Mountaineers to rotate back early, keep them on their toes at all times. As you can see, Duffy was going to go for the boost. Maybe thought Emma had it under control, but Tasheg, with mechanical prowess, going to prove to be lethal. And now Wichita back within 1 here with almost halfway through this match. I mean, this has been a very high-scoring game so far, and a lot of times when it's a shootout like this, the Mountaineers tend to come out on top. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, very, very high-scoring game. This game looks like it's going to come down to which defense can play critically, or who makes connects on the opportunities given. Like we said earlier, Mountaineers had a very early opportunity, missed it, and Wichita took advantage of. So if the Mountaineers want to hold on to this lead, they're going to need to play perfect on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and so far right now, the Mountaineers not really activating Kira so far. 0 shots on 0 goals for her as the time being, but you know, Duffy's really stepped up this game. 2 goals for him. Emma's found her 1 as well, but Hira right now, once she gets activated, it's going to be a tough time for Wichita State. That's got to be their main priority, is trying to keep her on the low right now. Hira on this right side trying to set up Emma down low. Duffy almost had the angle, but it's not going to find it. Emma's going to take possession, going to grab a full boost. Now she's on her way. We saw her with an insane sequence earlier on in that last series. Can she do something similar here? Off the backboard over to Hira's going to get past her. A little bit too far. Mountaineers trying to set something up right now. Tasheg's going to meet it up in the air. Just going to get faltered. Wichita State trying to hang on. Only 1 goal separating them in a tie. 1.5 minutes left to do so. Emma now just taking possession on this left side, trying to get a pinch off the wall, try to gain some positioning. Tasheg able to go under Duffy there, thinking demolition onto Hira. No boost with this Mountaineer team right now. Emma and Hira trying to fill up once again. Trying to get back on defense. Luckily, they're able to do so. The rotations do come through. Emma goes a little bit high. Time is ticking down right now for Wichita State, though. We saw Tasheg earlier on his singular shot. He made it very efficient, though. Took advantage of that 1 shot. 50 seconds remaining now. Duffy been a hero so far in this game. 1 save, 1 assist, 2 goals, been about everywhere, doing whatever he can, try to beat this #1 seed and take the top spot here in league play. Off the backboard once again. Tasheg picks it up mid-pitch. Duffy, though, sending it right back over. Cap was there to receive it, though. Thought for a second there might be an open goal. 1/2 minute remaining. Solus will get demolition. You know, the Mountaineers are trying to keep this ping pong match going. They're going to be in a really good spot. Wichita State has not really had any good looks in this past 2 minutes. They were on such a hot streak there for a while, but they seem to really cool down here in these last few minutes of this match. Something they are not going to be able to do if they want to come out and win this game. 5 seconds remaining now. Kappa, they might have something. Only 1 defender is going to be Emma on the backside. Can they do it? They will! Tasheg with the buzzer beater.
What a
tragedy.
What a buzzer beater goal by the Shockers, and just a strategy. The Mountaineers played so well, and just one of those early mistakes you cannot have when you're going against a #1 team and a team as good as the Shockers. Hopefully the Mountaineers can get over that shocking goal and regain momentum and hopefully take game 1 in a critical series.
Yeah, now we're in our first overtime here tonight. We had not seen the likes of it so far. But I do love some overtime Rocket League, I'll tell you that. So first to score here's going to take this. But I mean, what a comeback this could be for Wichita. Going down 3-0 early on, and they're going to do it. Are you serious? Tasheg finds a hat trick. And somehow, after going down so early on, they're able to fight their way back. Emma just loses the 50. Horrible. Wow, that is an insane way to go out here in game 1.
Heartbreaking loss for the Mountaineers, but that's a game where you made 2 critical mistakes, where they gave up the 2nd goal from the hesitation by Duffy, where he could have put that game in, and the second of all, just having no one defense at back that allowed the Shocker to steal this game. Now, if you're the Mountaineers, you have to have a quick memory and hopefully forget this, because if you let this game linger, you could be facing your 2nd loss of the season.
Yeah, and then they're going to have to climb out of a deficit, win these next 2 games, which is going to be difficult against this team. I mean, Wichita State proving right there that they are not ever going to be down and out. They went down super early on. The Mountaineers looking like they're just going to take this game and roll with it. Wichita State was able to fire back, and even after a really cold minute and a half offensive, section for them, they're still able to force it into overtime and then win immediately in overtime there off the hat trick of Tasheg. And I mean, so far Wichita State was looking so poor, but now they're right back into the flow of things, back in their undefeated type of gameplay here. And Lotus is going to have to fight back at their own deficit.
I will say, Fate, though, both teams, instead of feeling them out, which we're so used to seeing teams do in the first game, both teams came guns a-blazing. It's just, unfortunately, the Shockers had a little bit better aim.
Yeah, they definitely did. They were very efficient with their goals. They didn't really have a lot of shots. The shots they did had were really good, selections. They had really good setups. The passes were on par. They didn't really have to use too many demolitions that we saw. A lot of times Duffy be doing. Solus, good take there on the goal, but Hero's going to be able to intercept it. Pass back now over to Duffy with a center. Emma right down the middle, almost going to find the back of the net. Solus still able to save in the last second. And now a bit of a counterattack here from WSU. Hero able to pop back over on his orange side of the pitch. Tries to go up in the air to get the contest, but just does not have enough gas in the tank to do so. That's a much slower start than we saw in that first game. No 2-0 lead for the Mountaineers already. We are still all even. Tasheg looking to open this thing up. Had 3 there in game 1. The Hero. Oh my goodness, what a setup by Kappa. Solus capitalizes, and Wichita State going up early here in game 2. Wow, what a pass by Kappa. Kira was in the correct positioning, but just kind of jumped a little bit too early. Bad timing for her.
Just unfortunate goal to give up for the Mountaineers, but just a great sequence all around for the Shockers. But if you're the Mountaineers, you're going to need to respond quickly. You can't let this game snowball out of control. Know what you need to win this round so you can force the critical.
Yeah, but right now the Mountaineers, they are not, moving at the pace they were moving in that first game offensively currently. They are kind of being stunned out right now by Wichita State, but Sheg gets a demolition onto Kira. She was looking to try to get a counterattack going, but that's going to be shut down immediately. Kira's been quiet so far in this series. Didn't find too much in game 1. She's looking to get some shots under her belt. Emma, though, soaring through the air. Can she get the pinch off the backboard? Almost. So very, very close. Teammates able to back her up there. Nice demolition, though, onto Tasheg. The sharpshooter of the Wichita State squad. Good 50 there by Kappa. Kappa almost getting past Duffy there. Almost able to score by his lonesome. Another demo on a Solus. This Mountaineer team has had so many demolitions here in the series. It's kind of what they're known for a lot of times, especially Duffy. Solus, though, a little bit too far right. Almost had the open goal and did it again. But it's not going to matter. Tasheg able to get the rebound. Somehow, Wichita State still ends up scoring there, even off the double miss by Solus.
Mountaineers need to play a little bit more tighter defense. That's like the 4th shot I've seen where the Shockers have had a wide open goal and just before they scored, just hit the side of the post. So for the Mountaineers, not only do they need to score quick now to regain momentum, they need to play a lot tighter defense because they are playing a lot more sloppy than they did in the first game.
They are 100%. This is, like you said, when they're not able to really capitalize on their offense, a lot of times their defensive holes really do shine through, and we're kind of seeing that right here. WSU has played some really good defense so far. They're winning all their 50s. Every single time they go for the ball, they're able to just stop any Mountaineer attack from happening. And Solus right now taking this by his lonesome. Going to get demolition once again. Probably the 6th time he's in demo this game. It's going to be a little frustrating for sure. Emma, not a lot of boost to work with. Gonna run dry. Gets the full booster. Restock there. Nice shot by Hira. She's on the board when you need her most. Her first goal here in the series at a very solid time. Duffy able to pinch it off the side wall right over here to Hira. And a good shot.
Hira's like that, man. When lights out, you don't see him, but when you need her, she will rise. And that's exactly what she did. But there's a reason why the Shocker team's undefeated. They take advantage. You're not going to win those 50-50 options, and they play a very clean game. So for the Mountaineers, you're just going to have to take advantage of the few opportunities you get if you want to pull off the upset.
Oh, Hira almost popping it top left. Some amazing defense there. What a pass! Duffy One shot, one goal, and the Mountaineers were right back in this game. 2-2. Beautiful setup there by Emma. And that is what you want to see.
What a goal by Duffy. And like we said earlier, when you're going against this Mountaineers team, you're going against the buzzsaw, and they can actually any sense of the way. Now, all the Mountaineers need to do is just keep playing their way, and they should be able to force them game 3.
100%. And right now they have the momentum. This is kind of looking like a mirror of what happened in the first game, when instead of the Mountaineers making the comeback, so maybe the Mountaineers can have a buzzer beater themselves. Duffy's able to just rotate back just in the nick of time. Emma right there with him. Duffy's been playing very well in this series, especially offensively. I mean, he kind of played a bit more defensive side in that first game, that first series. But here against Wichita State, I mean, just really activated all of his shots, landing when they need to land. And Kappa now, a nice pinch. Oh my goodness, actually was on target. Emma was able to get the save. What a shot. Regardless, though, 20 seconds remaining. We might be seeing an overtime. Back-to-back overtimes is going to be an insane way in this game. Good pass. Nobody's home, though. Hira, good touch. Knocking back over to Duffy. Duffy back over to Emma. But a nice shot. Another one. Kappa. Back-to-back possible buzzer beaters here, and this could end the series.
Just unfortunate goal for the Mountaineers. They played a great defense that just too little and just slightly too late for making that save. But you still have 8 seconds to work with, and the game's not over until the ball hits the ground. So if you win this, you need to get that ball on the air within the next 4 seconds and do all you can to prevent it from going to the ground.
And that will do it. What was a incredibly close 2-0 win for Wichita State. I mean, that was just about as close as it can possibly get. 2 buzzer beaters. That is just, that is horrible coming into this. You know, you're so close to winning both games there, and then right at the last second, it all slips away.
Yeah, just unfortunately, this is the reason why the Shockers are undefeated and why they're considered the top team in this league. It's because they'll win those 50-50 balls. They'll take advantage of the smallest mistakes. And unfortunately, that ended up being the difference of this game is the Mountaineers crumbled and left too many mistakes get away. Earlier in the game, when they were in the game 2, for most of the game until the final about minute 30, they left way too many open shots, hit their goal that they got lucky to hit the post. And then in game 1, you just made 2 critical mistakes. First, where you had an opportunity to make it a 4-1 game, and you missed the goal, and they take advantage to make it a 1-goal game. And then you just had no one back at game 1, which let them get the open shot and goal and score right before the buzzer. So just too many critical mistakes by the Mountaineers, which ended up costing a game, which they had a very good opportunity of pulling up the upset.
Yeah, I mean, just so close there. Mountaineers really honestly did play amazing, especially in that first game. Just tragic. And, you know, against a team like Wichita State, you gotta watch out for that sometimes, where they're able to really fight back. And that was a really impressive mental showcase from Wichita State to really just never give up and fight their way back when they really, honestly, I didn't really think they had a chance in that first game to even get back into that. But, I mean, yeah, what a way to end the night.
Yeah, and then, like we said, unfortunately, the difference between these two teams is the Shockers were confident relying on their defense, and that's exactly what they did. While the Mountaineers, well, we keep saying their defense is not bad, but it's definitely not their strongest game when playing. And unfortunately, until the Mountaineers can add that extra layer to bring that defense up, when you're going against teams like as good as quality as Shockers, it's going to just end up to bite them, and that's what they did here.
100%. But bit of housekeeping before we do end here. Tomorrow we have Call of Duty playing against Fanshawi. Don't know if that's how you pronounce that. And then St. Clair Valorant after COD. So big matchup. I believe Call of Duty Valorant's actually playing Maryville right now. I think in Division 1. We saw that on stream last week. That was quite the showcase. Mountaineers still winning even after getting 13-0'd on Haven. So we'll see how that ends up going. But we will see you guys tomorrow for COD and Valorant, so don't miss it. Goodbye.
you back home.